Like she was legitimately handed her original posts in California state government because she was sleeping with Willie Brown. And then he backed her in her race for San Francisco DA.
Okay, Squeaks. Listen. I don't know, guys. You're being awfully subtle here.
Play clip. Make funny face. Don't take the argument seriously. Don't bring facts. Easier to throw out an insult or a rubbery smile. See, Jon Stewart's a coward. He's always been a coward. That guy runs away from actual political argumentation faster than he ran away from his birth name. Too Jewish, you know. Really courageous, Mr. Leibowitz.
That's Ben Shapiro reacting to Jon Stewart attacking him for pointing out the obvious about Kamala Harris. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like things might be heating up in the battle between new media and legacy media, because Ben Shapiro recently challenged Jon Stewart to an unedited discussion on the Daily Wire. And the whole thing started because of a segment Stewart did alleging that Republicans had zero legitimate criticisms of the new default Democrat nominee, Kamala Harris.
Jon, on the other hand, not so fine. See, this year, Jon unceremoniously returned to The Daily Show after completely falling apart on Apple Plus with a show he called The Problem with Jon Stewart. I'm going to assume it didn't work because people already know the problem with Jon Stewart. He's 61 years old and still doesn't know most basic things, but pretends he's smart by making the same obnoxious, snarky faces my 10-year-old sometimes makes. More on that later. First, let's watch the clip.
Do you have anything else that could denigrate all of Kamala Harris's accomplishments by suggesting it's merely the power of the Jezebel?
It is relevant when a young candidate tries to sleep her way into politics and into power. And that is what it appears Kamala Harris did.
So sexist saying Kamala Harris slept her way to the top. Joe Biden and Donald Trump literally slept their way to the top, and we never heard a beep about it. Does anybody have a substantive critique?
Now, the mere fact that Jon Stewart is pretending that there are no legitimate criticisms of Kamala Harris should tell you all you need to know about the guy. I mean, just like Bill Maher, Jon Stewart serves as a pressure valve for semi-sane liberals who might not be entirely on board with the radical things their party is pushing. However, unlike Maher, Stewart is a complete know-nothing coward who can't feature guests without heavily editing the interviews to make himself look good. I mean, over the years, The Daily Show has invited Shapiro on several times, but would never agree to his stipulations of having it be unedited or allowing his staff to record a version themselves. Say what you will about Maher, but at least he routinely features conservative guests on that he disagrees with, including Shapiro.
I mean that his entire game is to ignore issues in favor of cheap insults. That's literally what he does, like all the time. There are never any arguments. What's amazing is that Jon Stewart is largely responsible for having turned all of American politics into that exact same game. So let's actually jump in the time machine all the way back to 2004. A young Jon Stewart appeared with liberal Paul Begala and bow-tied much younger Tucker Carlson on a show called CNN's Crossfire. Now, you might not remember Crossfire. This was a show that featured people from either side of the aisle talking about the issues, and Jon Stewart hated that. Here he was, being an asshole.
I made a special effort to come on the show today because I have privately, amongst my friends, and also in occasional newspapers and television shows, mentioned this show as being bad. And I wanted to, I felt that that wasn't fair, and I should come here and tell you that I don't, it's not so much that it's bad as it's hurting America. So I wanted to come here today and say,
wait,
I just, here's just what I wanted to tell you guys.
Yeah.
Stop. Stop hurting America.
Okay, now
and come work for us, because we, as the people.
How do you pay?
The people, not well.
Better than CNN, I'm sure.
But you can sleep at night. See, the thing is, we need your help. Right now you're helping the politicians and the corporations, and we're left out there to mow our lawns.
You just said we're too rough on them when they make mistakes.
No, you're not too rough on them. You're part of their strategies. You're partisan, what do you call it, hacks.
You know, Shapiro is absolutely right about that Crossfire clip. It really cemented Stewart's brand in politics and turned him into the most trusted man in news. After that, the show became even more popular. There was talk about him running for office. Hollywood made that movie that was essentially liberal fan fiction about if someone like him became president. And journalists suddenly started taking more informal and humorous approaches to their coverage.
All politicians, according to Jon Stewart, were lying about their arguments, said the great, mighty, moral Jon Stewart. Only Jon Stewart was honest with you. And you could tell he was honest because he was a comedian who made funny faces and was honest enough to admit he wasn't going to even try to ask anybody a tough question. You know, honesty. And also he said Tucker Carlson was a dick and that he was 35 and wore a bow tie. Well, now Jon Stewart is 61 and is a dick and wears the same outfits he wore when he was 35. His routine hasn't changed. He's an actual honest-to-God partisan hack who undermines civilized discourse. He holds 0 positions that are disapproved by the Democratic Party elite. He makes arguments that are specious and empty and stupid. And then he plays a clip, and then he makes a funny face. Jon Stewart did win the war. He converted all political media into tired one-liners and dumb mugging. Honest conversation across the aisle, which is what Crossfire actually was, can now only be found online. And so we invite Jon Stewart on this show anytime, unfiltered, to have an honest conversation about his own role in destroying America and making it worse. We need his help. Live, so no one can edit it and just make dumb faces.
Yeah, I'm not sure I see Stewart taking Shapiro up on that offer. You know, I'll reluctantly admit that I used to enjoy The Daily Show as a young man in college, but quickly realized how clueless Stewart was when he did that softball public debate with Bill O'Reilly and couldn't wrap his head around why we have or need the Electoral College. You know, the guy has some talent in entertainment, but not much as a political observer, and like Shapiro pointed out, the fallout of his popularity has spawned dozens of bitter rip-off entertainers who all want to be viewed as serious political analysts, and a group of political analysts and journalists that want to be viewed as entertainers, which is essentially why journalism is dying and legacy media is in the state it's in. But let me know what you think. Will Stewart take Shapiro up on his offer? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!